Frida Kahlo is an internationally renowned artist, with both her image and her art being widely recognized and iconicized. In this video, I seek to understand what is represented and misrepresented in Kahlo's icon status, and I argue that situating Kahlo within her historical context is crucial to understanding her work and deconstructing her legacy. At the time of Kahlo's death in 1954, she was mostly known as Diego Rivera's wife, who made some art of her own. Things changed in 1983 when Hayden Herrera published the international bestseller Frida, a biography of Frida Kahlo. Herrera's biography brought Kahlo's tumultuous life story to popular culture, especially in the United States, and it analyzed her art through the lens of her personal struggles and experiences. This led to the Frida mania of the 1990s, with Kahlo's image appearing on merchandise and models in Vogue and Elle magazine dressing according to her likeness. As Herrera wrote in the New York Times, for a society drawn to notions of victimization and sadomasochism, Kahlo is certainly an alluring victim. While Mexicanness was very important to the portrayal of Kahlo's image in popular culture, her actual national identity and political role seems to have been subsumed by her life story and her status as a feminist icon. In reality, Kahlo was deeply steeped in the political culture of her time, and this greatly impacted her work. After the Mexican Revolution, there were direct attempts at changing the ideology surrounding Mexican identity. Intellectuals and government officials wanted to move away from the ideology of the Diaz regime by embracing a new form of nationalism. The indigenismo movement occurred from these ideas, which emphasized tradition and glorified a traditional pre-Columbian past, but did not include contemporary indigenous people within the framework. Indigenismo was central to the mural art movement, which Diego Rivera played a significant role in. Wrapped up in this movement was the concept of feminized indigeneity and the superiority of a mestizo race. Rivera encouraged Kahlo to lean into her semi-indigenous roots, Kahlo's mother being part indigenous while her father was German-Hungarian, and in some ways Kahlo can be seen as a poster child for indigenista, with her famously wearing the Tehuana dress despite not being Zapotec. However, by analyzing her art through a political lens, we can see a tension between Kahlo's experience of identity and the idealized beliefs of indigenismo. For instance, while Memory the Heart has traditionally been interpreted as Kahlo's literal heartbreak after Rivera's affair with Kahlo's sister, scholars examining Kahlo's work through a political perspective offer a different interpretation. Notably, none of the figures in this painting are complete. Kahlo's head is in the center figure, but her arms are in the schoolgirl and Tehuana dresses hanging on the sides. Furthermore, one of her feet stands on land while the other, morphing into the figure of a boat, is ready to set sail. With these elements in mind, this painting can be interpreted as a metaphor for colonization, with both Kahlo's and Mexico's identity fractured between different incomplete selves. A similar interpretation can be applied to the painting The Two Fridas. The arteries which connect the two Fridas provide connection between the two selves, but also suggest violence, with one end being cut off and spilling blood onto a white skirt. This portrayal of an identity in conflict is not in line with the notion of mestizo superiority, which was being promoted alongside the indigenismo movement. By only analyzing Kahlo's work through a personal framework and uncritically embracing Kahlo's image as a feminist icon, this erases the political complexities as well as the critiques of her work. Recently, I have noticed more critiques of Kahlo's appropriation of a Zapotec dress and culture popping up on social media. I believe that this may be traced back to the article published in 2021 titled An Indigenous Perspective on Frida Kahlo. The author, Joanna Garcia Turan, wrote the article after visiting Kahlo's house-turned-museum and feeling alienated from both the audience and the art. She says that Kahlo's involvement with the indigenismo movement has been missing from the cultural perception of her work, and concludes that more nuanced discussions about the fraught nationalism to which Kahlo contributed, as well as the flattening of race, ethnicity, and nationality in Mexico, are needed. I think that Tran's article has been and will continue to be important for opening up new conversations around Kahlo's work and reevaluating the way she's iconicized in popular culture. As I've discussed thus far, the way that Kahlo is perceived, especially in Western culture, does not contextualize her work within her geographic, political, and social subjectivities. By bringing the ideological conditions of her time into the conversation around her work, I think we can better understand the complexities of Kahlo's legacy.